Imagine this. You're on a train, you see an elderly man standing, and out of courtesy, you offer him your seat. But instead of thanking you, he ignores you with a look of disdain. What did you do wrong? In this country, there are invisible rules that, if broken, can make you feel completely out of place. Today, I'll show you 10 taboos that will leave you in shock. Japan. Picture this. You're in Tokyo, you buy an onigiri, take a bite while walking. And suddenly, you feel disapproving stares drilling into you. No, you didn't break any laws, but in Japan, this is a big social no-no. Here, food isn't something you scarf down on the go. It's meant to be enjoyed calmly. It actually happened to me in Shinjuku. The moment I unwrapped my onigiri, an elderly woman shot me a look that needed no translation. We don't do that here. In Japan, eating while walking is considered impolite because it can lead to spills, unpleasant odors, and honestly, it just looks bad. That's why most people prefer to sit on a bench or use the designated eating areas in convenience stores. Of course, there are exceptions. At festivals or street markets, it's more acceptable, but in general, if you don't want to draw attention, find a quiet spot to enjoy your meal. Is this normal in your country, or would you get weird looks too? Let me know in the comments. You're on a train. You see an elderly person standing, and instinctively, you get up to offer them your seat. In many countries, this is a sign of respect, but in Japan, it can be a mistake. Here, implying that someone needs help can be taken as a subtle insult. You look weak. It actually happened to me once. I got up with the best intentions, and the man didn't even look at me. He completely ignored me, as if the seat had magically moved on its own. Later, I understood why. In Japanese culture, equality and self-sufficiency are deeply rooted values, especially among older generations. For them, accepting the seat could feel like admitting they're no longer independent. So, what should you do if you really want to give up your seat? Here's the trick. Instead of offering it directly, just stand up as if you're about to get off and leave the seat open. No words, no exaggerated gestures. If the person wants to sit, they will on their own terms without feeling pressured or embarrassed. Now tell me, have you ever tried to be polite in another country only for it to backfire? Let me know in the comments. Did you know that 92% of tourists make this mistake within their first week in Japan? In many countries, tipping is almost mandatory. It doesn't matter if your coffee was burnt or if the waiter ignored you for half an hour. You're still expected to leave something. But in Japan, this can cause more awkwardness than gratitude. Here, the service is so impeccable that tips aren't needed. In fact, if you leave extra money, chances are the waiter will chase after you to return it, thinking you forgot your change. In Japanese culture, providing excellent service isn't something that needs to be rewarded with money. It's simply part of their professionalism and pride in doing a job well. So tell me, which do you prefer? Flawless service with no tipping or a system where you can reward based on quality? Japan is a country where discretion is key. There are things everyone knows about, but no one talks about, especially after dark. Japan's nightlife is a world of its own. Exclusive bars, hostess clubs, luxury companionship services, they exist. They're right there, but bringing them up in public is a total taboo. While certain aspects of the industry have been regulated, and some have even been illegal since the 1950s, the reality is that places like Kabukicho in Tokyo are still silently thriving. Everything operates under unspoken rules. You know it's there, but nobody openly discusses it. Now tell me, have you ever been somewhere where everyone knows something but no one mentions it? Let me know in the comments. Tattoos are a form of expression in many countries. Some people get them for style, others for personal meaning, and in most places, no one judges you for having them. But in Japan, the story is completely different. Here, tattoos still carry such a strong stigma that you might actually get banned from public places. For centuries, tattoos were used to mark criminals, and over time, the Yakuza, Japan's infamous mafia, adopted them as their signature. Even though many tattooed people today have zero connection to crime, the association runs so deep that having visible ink can close a lot of doors. For example, if you try to enter an onsen, hot spring, a gym, or even some hotels, you might be denied entry. Many places have clear signs banning tattoos, and while some rules have been relaxed for tourists, the stigma is still very real. Imagine paying hundreds of dollars for a luxury hotel in Kyoto, putting on your best swimsuit, heading to the pool, only to be stopped because of a tiny ankle tattoo that actually happened to a tourist who ended up enjoying her 5-star experience with a bandage over her foot, like she had just survived a vicious attack from a squirrel with shark-like ambitions. Now tell me, have you ever been stared at or discriminated against for your tattoos in another country? Let me know in the comments. Eating with chopsticks seems easy until you realize that one wrong move can make you the villain at the table. In Japan, there are 2 major mistakes you must avoid if you don't want to get horrified stares. The first mistake, sticking your chopsticks into a bowl of rice. To most of us, this might seem harmless, but in Japan, this is directly associated with funeral rituals, where rice is offered to the dead with chopsticks standing upright. Doing this at the table is like inviting bad luck or wishing the worst upon your meal and everyone around you. The second mistake is even worse, passing food from one pair of chopsticks to another. This mimics a funeral custom where the cremated bones of a deceased person are passed between family members using chopsticks. So, if you're going to use chopsticks in Japan, remember these 2 basic rules. Now tell me, have you ever made a cultural mistake with food without realizing it? If you're the type who greets people with a hug or a friendly pat on the back, get ready for some serious culture shock in Japan. Here, personal space is sacred, and unsolicited physical contact might make people look at you like you just landed from another planet. In many cultures, a hug is a sign of trust, closeness, or affection. But in Japan, this kind of contact is usually reserved for extremely close relationships, like family or romantic partners. Even among friends, the most common greeting is a slight nod or a bow, depending on the level of respect. That being said, things are changing, especially among younger generations and in big cities like Tokyo, where Western influence is more noticeable. Still, if you're unsure, it's best to skip the hugs and go for a light bow instead. It's a simple way to avoid awkward moments and show respect for the culture. Now tell me, could you live without physical contact in your daily life? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Imagine this. You hop on a train in Japan, take a seat, pull out your phone, and answer a call with a simple hello. Anywhere else, no one would even notice. But here, you suddenly feel a chill down your spine. Not because you said anything wrong, but because within seconds, dozens of silent stares are fixed on you, as if you just broke the sacred code of public transportation. In Japan, silence on trains and buses is no coincidence. It's an unspoken rule. People avoid talking loudly, and even less so, answering phone calls. If someone absolutely has to pick up, they whisper or cover their mouth to minimize noise. And if a phone rings too loudly, the owner rushes to silence it immediately, like they're defusing a ticking bomb. Unnecessary noise on public transport is almost unforgivable. Now, compare that to a bus in Latin America, music blasting, lively conversations, and someone sharing their entire life story on speakerphone. 2 completely different worlds. So tell me, could you get used to a train in complete silence? Or do you prefer the chaos of noisy public transport? If you think your job is demanding, wait until you learn about Karoshi. In Japan, it's not uncommon to see offices full at midnight, employees sleeping at their desks, and exhausted executives taking naps on the train. Here, overworking isn't just common. In many cases, it's expected. Karoshi literally means death from overwork. And it's not just a dramatic expression, it's a harsh reality. There are documented cases of employees collapsing from extreme exhaustion, suffering strokes, or even heart attacks due to excessive workloads. Laws have been passed to limit overtime, but the culture of sacrifice runs so deep that many workers still rack up 80 extra hours a month as if that were normal. A big part of the problem is social pressure. In many Japanese companies, no one wants to be the first to leave, because that could be seen as a lack of commitment. So even if you've finished your work, it's common to stay until your boss decides to leave first. The government has even tried to implement early leave Fridays, but in reality, very few employees take advantage of them. The irony? Despite spending so many hours at work, Japan is not among the world's most productive countries. More hours don't always mean more efficiency. Often, they just lead to more exhaustion. Now tell me, could you survive in a culture where leaving on time makes you look bad? Or are you the kind of person who believes in working to live rather than living to work? Japan is a country of contrasts. It has some of the most advanced cities in the world, yet it also holds on to traditions that feel straight out of another era. And one of the most controversial? The ban on women from certain temples and sacred mountains. One of the most well-known cases is Mount Omine, a religious site where, to this day, women are strictly forbidden from entering. Why? According to the beliefs of the Shugendo sect, the presence of women contaminates the purity of the site and could distract monks from their path to enlightenment. Yes, this is still happening in the 21st century. And the most ironic part? Mount Omine is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, meaning it's recognized as a place of importance for all of humanity. Well, for half of it. Because if you're a woman, apparently, you're not heritage enough to set foot there. Nothing like global recognition for a place that excludes half the planet. Now tell me, is this an ancient tradition that should be respected or medieval sexism? This one deserves a comment. Which of these Japanese taboos shocked you the most? Were you more surprised by the band tattoos or the dead silence on trains? This video barely scratches the surface of how incredibly different Japan is. If you found this shocking, share this video with your friends who have no idea about these unspoken rules. And if you want more content about mind-blowing cultures, hit that like button, subscribe to Culture Shock, and turn on notifications. What we have in store for the next video is even more shocking. See you next time!